Good morning, little cherry blossoms. It is Thursday on week 2. I almost said 141. Nope, it's not. It's week 241, and we are talking about books and recommendations, both fictional and non-fictional, having to do with paganism and witchcraft. So, as a book connoisseur, I guess, we'll go through some of the fictional books that I love for witchcraft. This is a fairly long fictional list, so if you see me looking over, it's because I'm looking at my monitor, my other monitor, because it has a list. So one of the books that I would start with is The Secret of Witches. I do not remember who wrote that, but I will try to leave links in the bottom of this video. So, Secret of the Witches would be a good start. And then, of course, there's Alice Hoffman's Practical Magic and the subsequent novels that go with that about the sisters. Once Upon a Witch is a good one that I love. The Bone of a Witch, the new series, Children of Bone and Blood. And then I think the new one is Children of Virtue and Vengeance, which comes out in December, which I'm super excited about. And then there is a young adult book that is called The Girl Who Drank in the Moon. It's about a little girl who was orphaned and was raised by a witch, and she's given these powers and she has to figure out how to use them, which I think is adorable, and it won a Newbery Award and it was great. And then, while it's not a standalone, I also love Witches Abroad from Terry Pratchett, which is actually the 12th novel in a series. Which is about the death of this witch and her magical wand, and it's a whole thing. Terry Pratchett is an amazing author anyway, so there's always that. This is going to get into some gray area, but basically any type of magic is, I'm going to consider a type of witchcraft. So there's, of course, the Mortal Instruments and everything that Cassandra Clare writes, which is beautiful. There's also a series about magic bloodlines by Robert Newcomb. I'll see if I can remember the title to that. That is also a series that I really like. Then there is The Night Circus by Eric Morgenstern. There's also The Magicians from Lev Grossman. There is Zabriel from Garth Nix. There is Carnival, which, if I remember right, is a NaNoWriMo book by Garber? Stephanie Garber, I think. Then, of course, there is one of my favorite authors, Philip Pullman. He has The Dark Materials, which would be like The Golden Compass. The new one, The Book of Dust. There's a sequel to The Book of Dust. It's like Book of Dust Part 2, and that has a fancy name, which comes out in December also. It's on my list. As far as fictional books that do with witchcraft or magic, it's really easy to go into sci-fi and fantasy and pretty much throw a stone in the book section and you'll hit something with magic or witchcraft. I tend to read a lot of these books just because I adore them. Beautiful Creatures was another one that I loved, with the claiming. So good. So I could go on about fictional magic books for a long time. If that's something that you guys would like me to see on my personal channel, feel free to comment down below, because let me tell you, it would be a long video. So let's get into non-fictional books about witchcraft. And that is a little more complicated. We've kind of already done reference books, and I think a lot of the non-fictional books also reference into that as well. I'm not necessarily a witchcraft book user. I'm more of a spirituality. So I just got a book from the store on Draconic Egyptianism with Bill Duvendak. He signed my copy because he's fabulous. He's getting ready to move to Poland. And that was really interesting to me as a comedic, because it talks about pre-dynastic Egypt and how the religion and culture centers work and all of that. So I would consider that a book on witchcraft, which is not fictional. we're still using resources. I think in a sense it's impossible to talk about non-fictional books about witchcraft without talking about the Malleus Magnificatum, which is 1480 something. So there's that reference. Then there's things like the Modern Grimoire Witchcraft by Skye Alexander. Tons of books by Raymond Buckland. The Big Blue Book of Witchcraft. Scottish Witchcraft. Romany Witchcraft. I mean, Scott Cunningham and Raymond Buckland are really like two really big figures who start out talking about witchcraft, and all their subsequent books just expound on that. Then there are green witchcraft books. I think there are 3 or 4 of them now by Anna Mora. If I say her last name incorrectly, I apologize. I've only ever seen it in script. I've never heard it said correctly by the author, so there's that. Then there's Christopher Penczak and all of his references for witchcraft. He has several, I think there are 5 books that I can think of off the top of my head. He has like High Ceremonial Witchcraft, Shaman Witchcraft. I mean, he has lots of them. Then there's Witchcraft, A Book of Spells and Potions by Anastasia Greywolf. Witchcraft and Whimsy by Auricula Rose. The Complete Guide to Incense Oils and Brews for Witchcraft. Stephanie Woodfill has several. There's one on Celtic lore and mythology and witchcraft. And then she has another one, which is Dark Goddess Craft, which is super interesting. Then there's Ellen Dugan, who has the Book of Witchcraft, Witchcraft Herbs. I mean, there are tons of these authors that once you just start in, they just have lots of resources. Then there's Nocturnal Witchcraft, The Magic of the Night. So I think there's consistently a plethora, not only of fictional books that contain witchcraft and magic, but also when you go into other books, a lot of the other books are gauged at beginners. Of course, there's Starhawk. I have Starhawk's Witchcraft of Living and Dying. I think that's what it's called. I'm going to attempt to make, like I said, all these in the links below. But there are so many books that contain magic or witchcraft that it's really, really hard to say, oh, here's a 5-minute video. But yeah, I would love to know some other ones. I mean, I have lots of other reference books, but I would like to kind of know what you guys have in the comment section below. Whether you guys have some of these books, you've read some of these books, you're interested in these books, or any author that stands out to you as far as like non-fictional witchcraft books. So I will see you guys next week here on Starting Out Solitary.